And now let me take a moment to welcome our most awesome guests tonight. We're glad you could join us for our conversation with the founder and director of SHA, Jonathan Goldman, and the co-director, Andi Goldman. Jonathan Goldman, MA, is an international authority and pioneer in the field of sound healing. He is a renowned writer, musician, and teacher. Jonathan is the author of several books, including The Divine Name, the 2011 Visionary Award for Best Alternative Book of the Year, and The 7 Secrets of Sound Healing, both from Hay House. A Grammy nominee, his award-winning recordings include Chakra Chants and The Divine Name. He is the founder and director of the Sound Healers Association and CEO of Spirit Music. In spring 2011, Jonathan Goldman was named as one of Watkins' Mind, Body, Spirit magazine's 100 most spiritually influential living people. Andi Goldman, MA, LPC, is a licensed psychotherapist specializing in holistic counseling and sound therapy. She is the director of the Healing Sound Seminars and co-director of the Sound Healers Association. She is a musician, teacher, sound healer, award-winning author, and the wife and partner of Jonathan Goldman. He's such a lucky guy. Jonathan and Andi Goldman have co-authored Chakra Frequencies, winner of the Visionary Award for Best Alternative Health Book of the Year, and their new best-selling book, The Humming Effect, which has just won the 2018 Gold Visionary Award for Best Health and Healing Book, both from Inner Traditions. Together, Jonathan and Andi have dedicated their lives to the path of service, helping awaken and empower others with the ability of sound to heal and transform. And I just want to say, I've had the distinct pleasure of being partners with them with the Sound Healing Association for the last 4 years. Welcome, Jonathan and Andi. So glad you were able to join us today.
Oh, Nasiri, thank you. And we are even more delighted to be here. And it has been a joy having you as our partner for SHA for the last 4 years.
And hello to everybody who's here. Hello, friends, new and old. What a blessing that you are here. Thank you so much. We've got so much to share with you. But we thought we'd begin with an invocation to a being named Shamael, who's the angel of sacred sound. And you can resonate with us as we do this and just feel the energy.
Some of you may know this invocation, and if not, you can just go along with us in your mind. So ready? Okay. We invoke the spirit of Shamael, angel of sacred sound. May the sound of light surround us. May the light of sound guide us. May sacred sound come through us for the harmony of all.
Thank you so much for that beautiful opening. I just want to take a second to welcome a lot of folks who have said hi to us. We have North Carolina, we have California, we have Missouri. I saw somebody from Paris, Ashland, Florida, Canada, Connecticut, Texas, Indiana, Alabama, Beijing, China, Sydney, Vancouver, British Columbia, Paris, Orland, Pennsylvania, Gwendolyn again, UK, New York, Hackensack, New Jersey, Chico, California, the Philippines. I saw love to Andi and Jonathan and Shamael, Iowa, Panama, Hanson, Sedona. So thank you so much, everyone, from joining with us.
Wow, that is amazing. There are people literally from all over the planet. Thank you all for being here tonight.
What a global group. What a blessing.
Yeah, well, we are here to talk about World Sound Healing Day, so I'm pretty excited at the turnout.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, everyone has come to the right place to talk about World Sound Healing Day.
Well, where should we begin, Nasiri?
Well, I was just going to say, so let's go back to the beginning, Jonathan. Where did you get the idea? How did it come about? Let's go flip the page back to the beginning. So once upon a time.
Yeah, once upon a time. I wish I could say it was 20 years ago today, but it wasn't, because we are now coming on our 20th anniversary. But I have to say that the idea, once it manifested, percolated in our consciousness for quite a while, probably about a year or so. So it was probably 21 years ago that Andi and I were sitting meditating together, and I got the distinct message that said, well, okay, you've been working now for about 20 years, helping bring awareness of sound as a healing modality to the people, for personal level. Now it is time to incorporate the use of sound as a healing modality for the planet. And I thought, well, this is great. Thank you. Tell me how. And transmission got cut off. And I was like, all right. So,
the internet went down.
So then, how would we do it? Okay, well, maybe we could try to get one sound on one day at one time. We thought, oh, well, how about the idea of sending a Valentine to the Earth Mother, what I call the Gaia consciousness. And then we're going to do the ah sound, which of course is a great sound, the sound of the heart. And then we're going to do it at 12 noon on New York time. But that's it's so interesting trying to plan a global event. Well, that became really New York-ocentric, and also that became ultimately very ah-ocentric. So as it's grown each year, we have expanded it more and more and more to the level that last year, and particularly this year, we're basically opening up the sound to be any sound that is made with the energy of love and compassion being generated for the positive energy of our beloved planet Earth. It can be a vocal sound, it can be an instrumental, it can be a bowl, a bell, it can even be a poem or a spoken word. Or I guess if somebody wanted to work with silent sound, because it's still all just forming this incredible field that interconnects with the field that we call the Gaia consciousness.
Well, and Nasiri too, back in the day when we were, trying to figure all this out, we really only knew that we wanted to have the intention of healing our planet, healing the waters, bringing peace and love to Mother Earth. And we knew that sound is such a powerful modality. And once we can put the intention on our sound, that it would just be, and we could get the whole planet to participate on some level, we thought that is what we want to do. And so at the very beginning, it was really a step-by-step, one day at a time process until now. Like Jonathan was saying, we have, our website, we have a portal that people can go onto and, put up a link to any of the organized groups that they are going to be facilitating. And we'll talk a lot more about that. But I just wanted to go back in that Wayback Machine for just a little bit bit more to give people that this has been a process
Yeah,
that has
beautiful.
happened over many, many, many years. And each year, of course, it just gets larger and larger. I think last year we had probably, gosh, about 200
or more events
events
that we knew of.
Yeah, that people were facilitating, that they put their link up onto the portal that we provide. And then anybody in the entire world can go to that particular link and participate with that particular group. So it's really quite a, what would we call it, honey?
All-inclusive party,
Yeah.
sonic celebration.
So,
And
yeah.
it tells about the power of sound and intention, and you know, where your focus and intention goes. Because when you started, you didn't start with the portal, did you? Did you just start with like a small event and then it grew from there? Or did you start with a portal?
Oh no, the portal only happened because of COVID last year. And that
Because
people
I know
could not-
we did the event in Boulder. I mean,
Right.
we did
Well,
that for many years.
yeah.
So
Well, what it started out as being, and what it has, you know, over the years, so many people have participated. Wherever you happen to live, you could, with your particular community,
Little pod of sonic
Yeah.
sounders or
you
whatever.
could gather at any point during the day on February 14th and do what we would call a sound meditation for Mother Earth. And so groups would gather throughout the planet. And of course, we weren't connected at all with the internet back in those days, such as we are, you know, now. But so there were groups that formed it turned out, you know, 10 countries, then 20 countries, then 50 countries. And, you know, people just started hearing about it and catching on and said, hey, I want to organize a group. I want to participate in World Sound Healing Day. And
Okay.
so they would gather. And so it just kept going and going from there.
and then at one point, didn't you have where everyone could connect with you at noon and then sound from the heart? I think I remembered that
Oh,
happening. at
sure,
one
that was part of it. And also another thing that we did, and we just yesterday revitalized this wonderful website called the Temple of Sacred Sound, that is the world's first cyber sacred toning temple. And we sort of reactivated that one because that was a place where people would go and be able to tone along with others in cyberspace. So there are all sorts of different, you know, concepts. Once again, you've been, you know, when we used to do them in Boulder, and they were just wonderful. And we'd have 100, 200 people around a crystal bowl full of water, and everybody would tone for an hour, and then we'd give out cups of water, and it was so sweet, almost psychotropic, because it was literally imbibed with our consciousness and our sound. So we've been doing all sorts of different things, and it continues to shift and manifest and change.
Well, and what's the piece about the water? I mean, how'd the water come in? How'd the water come into play in this?
What I'd like to talk about Grandma Aggie.
Totally. Here you go.
You know, I'll tell you how that happened.
I mean, I can think of all kinds of things with the mother and the water, but
well, you know, it's interesting because we were in Australia for the 12/12 big celebration, and we were presenting our work there, and we met one of the 13 grandmothers, indigenous grandmothers named Grandma Aggie.
Lovely being.
And we made a beautiful connection with her, and she talked a lot about the waters. And she said, there is never a moment where I pass by water that I don't say thank you, that I have a drink of water that I don't say thank you. I say thank you with any possibility of being even near water. And that is what sort of kind of infused us to go, wait a minute, World Sound Healing Day, let's bring water in to the group that we would facilitate here in Boulder. And that's really where the water piece came in. And of course, then throughout the planet, people are very into healing the waters.
But kudos and hats off to Masaru Emoto, whose revolutionary work with water and water crystals and whatnot was so really extraordinary, because we knew then that if you can, I'm sure a lot of you are aware of that, but his work where he basically took water, projected different either frequencies or intentions on it, froze it, and then took pictures in the water that had negative intent, if you like, polluted, looked like mud, and water that had beneficial properties looked like snowflakes. And there was one particular one that really made a huge impression on me. It was the water from the Fujiwara Dam in Japan. And this looked like mud. It was polluted water. It looked like mud. And then he had it turned out to be a Buddhist priest. I asked a friend of mine named Kitaro to translate it from the Japanese. And it was a Buddhist priest who was chanting the Heart Sutra over it for 20 minutes. And then they re-photographed this water. And it looked like a pristine crystal, snowflake, if you like. And we would always say in workshops, okay, look at this, log it in your consciousness. If our body is made up of 90% water or 80% water, and we can shift and change it with our sound and our consciousness. And if the earth is this way, and I've had it also personally in dreams, where one of the major ways you could reprogram and literally shift and change the vibrational frequency of water simply through our sound and our consciousness. So kudos. And so it's not a new idea. And I'm sure a lot of you are working with water too.
Oh, and I'm seeing some notes in the chat, and Dr. Emotions Water. I love that comment Janet Connell put out to everyone. And my drinking and plant water sits on Post-it notes with high vibration words. So we have many folks in the room with us who are using words and water and vibration, and familiar with that, with Dr. Emoto's work. So I think we have a lot of water fans in the room. So we have obviously been on quite a journey with World Sound Healing Day, and this year promises to be an even bigger and better event than never before. But I know last year with COVID, we had some challenges, and we had made some discoveries with a lot more online events and a lot less in-person events. Do we have some suggestions that we might want to talk about for some successful events this year?
I do, but I'm going to go back, if I can, and backtrack to the question that you asked, second question that you asked that we didn't actually get around to answering, because it was about the importance of intentionality.
Okay.
Thank you.
On the water, and on the water and on the sound. And I'm just going to suggest, and I know many of you are aware of this, but blessed be now, thanks to the work of HeartMath, they've really shown that the field of energy, the geomagnetic, the electromagnetic field created by our brain and by our heart, when we are in a state of coherence, which means that our heart and our brain are resonating at the same frequency, the same rhythmic level, that the field becomes anywhere from 50 to 500, even 5,000 times greater. And that this field of coherence is basically created through some very nice deep breathing, coupled with a couple of other visualizations, including being in a state of gratitude and appreciation. Those seem to be the two major things, gratitude and appreciation. And then if we can take that energy, just think about it for a moment, a majority, if not all, of the sacred prayers on our planet are vocalized, whispered, chanted, spoken, sung. That's because sound amplifies this field even more. And it also focuses our intentionality of what we're going to manifest. So the addition of sound to the heart-brain coherence, if you like, heart lock, really creates this magnificent dynamic waveform that interfaces with the field of our beloved planet, what some people call the Gaia matrix, some people call it the noosphere, others simply call it the Schumann resonance, or if you like, the electrogeomagnetic field of the Earth. But it is possible for our little field of energy to interface with the other people over here, and we can all of a sudden really have a dynamic interface with our planet. And this all depends upon working with the energy of compassion.
Mm-hmm. And what I like to do when we do talk about intention is bring forth the formula that Jonathan created over 40 years ago. And that is frequency plus intent equals healing. And so when that sound is made with that intention of compassion, of gratitude, of love, that is when the healing happens. And when we can emit that to our planet, and on World Sound Healing Day, there's so many people that are doing that, that the frequency of our planet has to make some kinds of shifts and changes. And I know it's been documented with the
Well, yeah, you have the Global Consciousness Project.
Global Consciousness Project.
I mean, there are all sorts of different things that are going on. In fact, and every year, the fellow who's the founder of the Global Consciousness Project, and they have what they call it the Global Coherence Initiative, that works with heart math. Lovely fellow by the name of Roger Nelson from Princeton University. He has his data machines focused on what's going on there. And it's really interesting on a level, because I know in my heart, my psyche, and my soul that this is making a difference. I don't need to look at the data. But a lot of people go, let me see what's going on there. So yeah, there are positive things, but just know inside that we can make a difference, and we do.
I think everyone that participates in World Sound Healing Day, and even those that don't, are touched by it and would agree. Mm-hmm. You know, and the fact that it's on Valentine's Day, I mean, I think people would be hard pressed to say that they don't feel the love that's generated. I think that people do. Yeah. I would have to agree with that.
Nasiri, I don't know if I ever told you that the original Sound Healers Association organizational day was February 14th.
You did not tell me that. No, I can't believe you never told me that. All the times we've talked over all these years, that you never did tell me that.
Isn't that is amazing. So we've got World Sound Healing Day, February 14th, and the Sound Healers Association. And, you know, both of them founded really with a beautiful foundation of love. How could it not be, having them organized and founded on February 14th? So
I am seeing some questions come up, Jonathan. So I wanna throw some out while we're talking, which we had discussed in the beginning. I see one from Mary Lou. What tuning fork hertz frequency would you suggest to play for Mother Earth?
That's such a wonderful question. I was thinking that before, just because I was thinking, by gosh and by golly, as we work personally with sound, the more sound that I work with, the more fluid I become, And therefore, the less restrictive I get into the particular frequency that you're working with is the frequency for healing. It's not my belief that any one frequency is the healing frequency. I know that there are a lot of people on this planet who try to direct you or guide you to a specific frequency having a specific thing. But I'd like to suggest that sound is like this incredible smorgasbord of vibrations, and you can choose whatever resonates with you at any particular time, because we are fluid beings and our frequency level can shift and change depending upon our time and our space of need, which was why it was hilarious when we were first coming up with the ah sound. And there was this doctor who has been a great proponent of a particular frequency, and he said, oh, I said, well, the frequency is cool, I've worked with it. And he says, yeah, well, you do the ah on that frequency. And I didn't want to tell him that I didn't, because if he believed it, then it's encoded more and more with the intentionality. And I said, yeah, sure, okay. So whatever frequency you feel guided to work with, just as long as it's coming from your heart.
Well, and it goes back to intention. And so whatever sound, whatever tuning fork you're working with, intention is such a big part of the healing. So hold that intention of compassion, hold that intention of gratitude and love for our planet and for all sentient beings on our planet. And you cannot go wrong with any sound that you decide to do.
Even if it's a silent sound.
I love that you said that, because I know my first thought was like, well, the one that I use is the one that I use for grounding. What I use for grounding, that's the one I use for Mother Earth, because that's the one that resonates for me personally. I also want to take a minute just to honor some of the other Healing Sounds faculty members that I see on our call tonight. I see Mr. Beautiful Laraji, and I think I saw beautiful Arji come in here.
Wow.
And I saw Alec pop in here tonight. So I just want to say hello to these blessed beings that we've worked together with for so many, many years. So thank you for joining us. And I can ask you to unmute and say hi if I can find you.
Laraji. We see you, Laraji.
Laraji.
Oh.
No, just take a look. There he is.
Hey.
So let's talk about why it works. Why does Sound Healing Day work so well? And it keeps working better and better.
Well, that's a great question. Part of it was answered in terms of our field and our fields being able, once again, quantum science is telling us what our ancient mystics know about the concept of oneness, the fact we forget about this, but the sound helps remind us of the oneness that is, and how we can share this and spread it out on a almost a galactic level. That's one aspect of why it works. Whether we're able to work and, if you like, affect the Schumann resonance, which is the, shall we say, the electromagnetic field of the Earth, or whether it's something to do with the Gaia matrix. Andi, what do you think?
Well, I think too that since we first started World Sound Healing Day, each year, not only have more and more people participated, but more and more people throughout the planet are getting very tuned in, no pun intended, to sound as a healing modality and to frequencies. And so there's something that's happening where it's opening people's psyches, their consciousness, and they want to experience sound, and they want to experience the frequencies. Frequencies is a big buzzword these days. And so I think that partly that's due to World Sound Healing Day, becoming so much bigger each year. But I also think that much of it has to do with, and I keep going back to that word, intention, because it was our intention. We set the foundation really of love and healing for the planet. And we have been holding that very, very strongly and very closely in our hearts. And so we we hold the consciousness for World Sound Healing Day. We provide the platform, but we want everybody to participate. And so it becomes this all-inclusive thing. So it's not about us at all, thankfully. It's about you. It's about each person who decides to participate. And that is an empowering thing for people to share their sounds in whatever way they're guided to do. But it's an all-inclusive thing. And I think that is another big part of
right.
why.
And if our intention ultimately is to help shift and raise the vibratory field, the consciousness of all the beings on our planet, which is an ancient spiritual, philosophical thing. And the reality seems to be that when they have researched places where there have been global peace meditations or large-scale compassionate events, that the activities of violence and crime in that area decease really by quite amazing statistical numbers for a while. So it does actually seem to work on a physical level. And then how's it filtering down? What's going on? That we won't ultimately know about, perhaps even, in this lifetime. This may be an interdimensional field effect that's going on, and we can feel it, but we may not be able to, consciously dictate a formula or something like that. Doesn't mean it's not real.
One of the things that I personally absolutely love about World Sound Healing Day is that it's not just sound healers. We have musicians, we have poets, we have dance, we have orchestras, we have all kinds of performing artists who are participating. So it's not just all crystal bowls and tuning forks and gongs and that kind of sound healing work, but we have other kinds of artists who are using sound or working with sound and enjoying sound and participating with us to bring that sound and joy of sound to the planet and be a part of it with us and that expression. And to me, that is, it goes back to the intention of being a part of something in a really powerful and intentional way. And that's what makes it global and far-reaching and hugely encompassing. And because of that, I think it can just keep expanding and expanding and expanding. So let's talk about, we want to talk about how people can get involved. And I'll put up the slide with the links and all that stuff. But before we do that, can we talk about how can an event be successful? How can you actually have a successful event? Because we've had so many folks sign up for their events and plan it and try very hard to have it be successful. And there were some that weren't that successful. And I can speak to that. I had one, I hosted one myself that did not have proper sound equipment, and going around the crystal bowl on the backside, the sound was lost from the microphone on the computer. So you couldn't hear the backside of that crystal bowl. So that was something that I learned from and have made accommodations for this year. But can you speak to that, Jonathan and Andy?
You take that.
So I first want to just suggest one of the reasons why World Sound Healing Day is growing more and becoming more, shall we say, extensive as a field event is simply the internet. And so bless COVID for having forced so many of us to do these Zooms, because this on a level has activated so many different interconnections through the internet with different parts of the world that were certainly accelerated because of all the stuff that went down. And because of that, we now have people all over who are able to use this. And, thanks to the portal that we created, which on a level, I just also want to suggest that it's sort of a new idea, because rather than doing it as a summit or as a festival where you have to register, we just hear this is sort of a free-for-all platform where you can sort of post your event and let it happen, which is, I hope more and more people do that, so it's all inclusive. So just with that in mind, the internet is also challenging. I know that all of you who work with sound have found Zoom and whatnot to be challenging at times, trying to do a live event. One thing that I recently was reading up on, just to see if I could pick up any tips for this program, and I came across this one fellow who said one of the major secrets is the fact that on Zoom, particularly, there is a little green button in the or a colored button on the left-hand top that says live sound. And if it either says live sound on or live sound off. And if you hit live sound, so it goes off, that means that live sound is on. It doesn't make any sense to me why, but the folks at Zoom didn't want you using this. And then you have to go into the advanced settings on the audio and hit a couple of buttons. And basically, they're just, you can find a couple of YouTube videos that tell you this one. And apparently when you have the actual live sound on, which means that it's reading live sound off on your computer, don't ask me why, you're getting three times the sound capability, which is why I guess the folks at Zoom don't want you using it, because it takes up more memory and more capacity. But it does give you, most of the time, better sound. So there are a couple of different tricks that you can use, number one. But number two, I have become a huge advocate of pre-recorded programs, sound, or whatnot, because too many times it seems like it's great, and either you got a funky internet connection or something is going strange and wild, and you're hearing it great, but the people on the other side are hearing static or whatnot. So if you're able to do a pre-record, and of course you can with Zoom or whatever, but most of the like Zoom things, you can literally record on Zoom and then play it back. It takes a little bit of knowledge to do it, but it's not rocket science. It really isn't. It's not rocket science. And, so with a little thought and a little testing beforehand, what does this sound like to you? Because otherwise I can take this bowl and it'll sound beautiful for me, and I'll look like I'm going like this, and you won't be able to hear anything because somehow the sound is not going properly. So I just want to suggest that's number one, that if you can, try to pre-record something and then play it back. And number two, we all love live stuff, and there is an energy inherent in live stuff. But as a reality base, even me speaking to you now, those of you who are on here listening, this isn't live. There's going to be a lag time between us. Okay, it could be a millisecond, could be a couple of seconds long. Okay, if you get conceptually into the fact that the time then is not exactly right, what's the difference between a couple of seconds and a couple of minutes? A couple of minutes and a couple of days. So therefore, the energy inherent in these recordings, perhaps it manifests for as long as energy manifests, which would be infinitely. That just came to me today. Maybe it's crazy, or maybe it's a wise thought.
But we don't want people to shy away from, presenting their group through Zoom, and we're just suggesting,
or whatever platform.
Yeah, and just a pre-record is as good as a live event, because actually on February 14th, the link that you put up that people will go to will feel like it is actually happening on February 14th, because that will be the date you go to it.
And if you want to do it live, blessed. We do all sorts of live stuff. I just have personally had, I'm a little Zoom shy in terms of liveness, because I've just had some strange things occur, So anyway, I share that as ideas that everybody can do it, and whatever works for you, works for you.
Yeah. And also we have on our website, worldsoundhealingday.org, we've got, what we are calling the portal. And we came up with this last year because of the lack of being able to do in-person events. And so we have a portal, and the directions are very, we think are very clear, and it will guide you step by step in how you can get your group, get your link up, and be able to have your group, your program up on our World Sound Healing Day website for other people to go to on February 14th.
And there are, I think already, and this is about a month out, there are 35 events already listed, which is a blessing. And I want each and every one of you to do something. I don't care if you get up there and just do an Om or, whatever, just do it with the energy of love and co-create this incredible sonic manifestation of light and love through sound.
And I'm sharing the screen right now that has the worldsoundhealingday.org website link and the portal link, and that logo for the 20th annual World Sound Healing Day. So if anyone wants to take a screenshot of that or a picture of that, there's the website addresses for you, and I'll share that again at the end of our time together so that you'll be able to see that again. So that everybody, and thank you for putting that in the chat, Gwendolyn.
And Nasiri, I'm wondering too, because we've sort of explained things as best as we can, but I'm wondering if people may have questions that they would like to ask us about, perhaps if they want to participate on some level.
And listen, I didn't want to scare anybody away from doing anything live. I was just suggesting, I was suggesting my experience, and that doesn't mean that I don't do things live.
So thank you for mentioning that, Andy. And I had just posted that in the chat as well. So I had asked anyone, I had mentioned that we were going to be opening it up for questions, and that if folks would raise their hand or post it, put it in there. We have about 55 folks on here. So if you could raise your hand, then I could ask you to unmute, and then we would be happy to take your question about World Sound Healing Day, or here you go, Gwendolyn. Unmute, ask you to unmute. There you go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I just wanted to say, I was a guest on this show 2 or 3 months back, and Nasiri is an amazing interviewer. It was just a profound experience for me. And I also wanted to say that the three of you are yourselves vibrating at a very beautiful frequency of love and acceptance and flow and truth telling. And I think for me, this affects this. I see this as demonstrating your integrity of walking your talk. And there's a lot of flow in your energy. That's what I'm feeling. And this is healing. And people who say they're healers embody that. And so you're calling those listening to join you in that resonance of flow, acceptance, love. And I see you all that way. I just wanted to share that. Blessings.
Oh, thank you so much. That was just lovely, and we appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, Gwendolyn.
You're welcome.
Blessings. Hi, Glenn. Go ahead. I just checked you to unmute.
Is that Glenn coming? Oh,
Can't.
Glenn.
there it
Hi,
is.
You
Glenn.
are?
Can
I
you
didn't
hear
know
me now?
that was you, Glenn.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Welcome.
It's Glenn in Washington State now. So I'd just like to point out the growth of sound healing. That 20 years ago, it was very, very few people and not really much going on in terms of communication with each other as healers. And how over the last 10 to 20 years, it has just grown phenomenally. And in my own personal experience through the years of being, a spiritual healer, I found that sound seems to be more efficacious and stronger a lot of the time than Reiki or just energy work. And and so the two of them together are just, whatever we can do to help others heal, great. And sound has improved the ability to have all those healings happen, even faster, easier, quicker, whatever.
Oh, thank you,
Beautiful, Glenn.
Glenn.
Thank you.
And nice to see you, Glenn.
Yeah, same here. So
And-
maybe
and-
a little plug-in for me for next month.
Oh, great, great. Well, people are in store for a wonderment with you. And I just want to suggest that, yes, isn't it amazing? Everyone who's here, I'm sure, boy, including our brother Laraji, golly, Laraji and I first met in the 1980s together when he was just an amazing guru for me and still is. But boy, have things really progressed in terms of this world?
Sure, they have. Can you hear me?
You're split into two different energy forms.
Oh,
It's
I meant to
echoing,
share something with you.
it's echoing around the planet. Yeah.
Ah, yes, beautiful, my brother.
My thoughts are, sometimes I believe we're all here because we've come to be a conscious complement of Mother Gaia's consciousness evolution. And that to the degree that we can put our individual human agendas aside and let Gaia consciousness and emotionality pour through us, that the synergy of Mother Gaia coming into her own is facilitated by this sounding. I read this day of sound healing, that the sound is about the most efficient way of letting something as big as Mother Gaia speak through and acknowledge her unity through us, united in sound. So I look forward to this day, and I really believe it's a big one for Mother Gaia's own consciousness evolution.
Oh,
Thank you, my brother. A few weeks ago, I was in a deeply, deeply meditative state. I might say interdimensional, whatever. And I really received the message of how important this year's World Sound Healing Day was in terms of our, really creating vibrational medicine for our planet. I had not thought about it before, but our planet really needs some assistance at this point. We humans have done a wonderful job of mucking up all the beautiful systems that are going on. And we really need to take some responsibility. And part of that responsibility is through creating positive vibrations such as this. So thank you for that reminder.
Laraji, that was beautifully said. And, I just want to let people know that Laraji was with us for every single one of our Healing Sounds Intensive, he and his beautiful partner, Archie. And it's just wonderful to even make this connection via Zoom right now. So thank you for that, Laraji.
As well as being a great musical partner, too.
Yes.
That was an incredible thing, but more on World Sound Healing Day and the little time left. We've created the portal as good as any radio station or anything that you can get, because your thing will be broadcast through the internet and, with a whole bevy of other people. And we've already got 35. And this is a month away. We've got 35 events happening. And I imagine we're going to have hundreds and hundreds from various parts of the globe. So,
yeah. And so, having the portal and having it just so open to whomever, wants to participate, rather than having particular sponsors, that this way there's a lot more freedom and flexibility to allow in so many more people.
And lastly, I have oftentimes thought of you remember when they did the Live Aid concert and they had all these people, and I thought, well, if you did something like that, then, I want this to be inclusive of everybody.
Yeah.
And as soon as you create like a festival of any sort, then you're going to have a limited amount of people who can do it for a limited time. Right now, everybody who wants to do something can be included.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a new form, folks.
It actually is. I know that even 5 days before World Sound Healing Day, that portal starts lighting up. That world map starts, the dots start lighting up all over the place and just people everywhere start populating the planet with events for World Sound Healing Day. It starts getting mobbed.
And we have to do kudos to Alex Sims, who is our operations manager and also is the guy who's ultimately in charge of doing that. So Alec, if you're listening in, blessed be for your perseverance and whatnot. And if you're not, we're sending out vibes because, boy.
Well, Alec, if you are listening, we could not do this without you.
Yeah.
But, I do want to mention that Alec is also instrumental in, helping people that might be having, a glitch or a question about getting their link, up on the website. And so he's available for that, which is wonderful. So he has been absolutely instrumental.
He's Angel Alec.
Angel Alec, yes.
Thank you.
And Nasiri, thank you for organizing this, and thank you each and every single participant. And I just want to say that, if you're thinking about joining us for World Sound Healing Day, don't hesitate. Absolutely. Go to the worldsoundhealingday.org or our website, which is healingsounds.com. I just wanted to mention that.
And last one, the original World Sound Healing Day, the energy behind that was actually the Sound Healers Association. So we return to the beginning.
Full circle. And I'm sharing that screen right now with the links for World Sound Healing Day, and the portal are up on the screen right now. Thank you, Andi and Jonathan. We are over a couple of minutes. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for everyone who came in on the call and joined us today. Blessings to you all. We hope to see you on World Sound Healing Day. Please schedule an event. Thank you, Andi and Jonathan. As always, it's so much fun to be with you. Love to all of you. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night. And blessings to you all. Good night.
Mwah.